The night sky over Arizona's desert stretched endlessly as Dr. Alan Wright adjusted the massive radio telescope. For 3 years, he had been scanning the same sector of space, following a hunch that many of his colleagues dismissed. Tonight was different. "What the hell?" Alan muttered, staring at the screen. The pattern repeated, clear and structured. Not random static, but something with mathematical precision. His hands trembled as he began recording the data. The signal came from Taw Ceti, a sun-like star just 12 light-years away. Alan worked through the night, checking and rechecking his findings. By morning, he was certain this was no natural phenomenon. "Dr. Wright, you need to see this," said Nancy, his research assistant, rushing into the lab the next day. She handed him a printout from another observatory in Chile. They picked up the same signal. Within 48 hours, 5 observatories across the world confirmed the discovery. The pattern contained simple numerical sequences, then prime numbers, then what appeared to be geometric formulas. It was a message designed to be recognized by any species capable of building a radio telescope. 3 days later, Alan's small lab was overrun with government officials. "Dr. Wright, I'm Captain Lisa Martinez." A woman in a crisp military uniform extended her hand. "What you've discovered changes everything." Lisa explained that she had been tasked with forming a response team. The president had authorized the activation of a classified spacecraft program that had been in development for decades, just in case a moment like this ever arrived. "We need you on the team," Lisa said. "You found them. You should be part of what happens next." Alan looked around at his small lab, at the life he had built. "When do we leave?" The next month passed in a blur. Alan was relocated to a hidden facility in Nevada, where he met the rest of the crew. Dr. Diane Bell, a linguistics expert who had developed new theories about alien communication. Kevin Ford, an engineer who had helped build the experimental ship's drive system. Dr. Peter Collins, a planetary scientist specializing in potentially habitable worlds. 8 others, each the best in their fields. Their ship was called the Horizon, sleek and unlike any spacecraft the public had seen. It carried technology that had been developed in secret, pushing the boundaries of what was thought possible. "The signal contains more than just math," Diane explained during a briefing. "There are patterns that suggest language, communication attempts. They're inviting contact." "Or it's a trap," said Jack Nelson, the security chief, his face grim. Lisa stood at the head of the table. "Whatever it is, we're going to find out. Humanity won't hide from this moment." The night before launch, Alan stood outside looking at the stars. He found Taw Ceti easily now, a habit developed over recent weeks. Somewhere around that distant sun, something waited, something that knew how to reach across the void and say, "We are here." "Nervous?" Lisa asked, joining him. "Terrified," Alan admitted. "We could be the first humans to meet another intelligent species. Or the last," Lisa said quietly. The morning of the launch, millions watched worldwide as the Horizon was revealed to the public. The president announced the mission, explaining that humanity was about to take its first step into a larger universe. As the engines fired and the Horizon rose from Earth, Alan watched his home planet shrink below. Whether they found friends or enemies around Taw Ceti, nothing would ever be the same again. 3 months into their voyage, the Horizon hummed with activity as it pushed through the emptiness between stars. The experimental drive had performed beyond expectations, but Chief Engineer Kevin Ford still spent most of his time monitoring its output. "We're running at 97% efficiency," Kevin reported during the daily briefing. "But I'm seeing fluctuations in the secondary cooling systems." Captain Lisa Martinez nodded. "Can we fix it without slowing down?" "I can try," Kevin said, though the worry lines on his forehead hold a different story. Life aboard the Horizon had settled into a rhythm. The 12 crew members worked in shifts, analyzing the continuing signals from Taw Ceti, preparing equipment for their arrival, and training for every possible first contact scenario. Diane Bell had made the most progress with the alien transmissions. She sat in her small workspace surrounded by screens displaying pattern analyses and frequency distributions. "It's beautiful," she told Alan as he brought her a coffee. "They're not just sending math anymore. I think they're sending images, broken down into data points." Alan studied the screens. "Can you reconstruct them?" "Working on it," Diane said. "But it feels like they're teaching us their language, step by step." In the ship's gym, Jack Nelson led daily combat training sessions. Most scientists had balked at first, but after weeks in space, everyone appreciated the physical outlet. Again, Jack ordered as Maria Garcia, their cultural specialist, attempted to pin Peter Collins. "Remember, we have no idea about alien physiology. You might need to adapt quickly." Peter, finally breaking free from Maria's hold, gasped for breath. "If they can build interstellar communication systems, they can probably crush us without hand-to-hand combat." "Probably," Jack agreed with a rare smile. "But I'm not taking chances with humanity's first impression." At the halfway point of their journey, disaster struck. A massive solar flare from a nearby star bathed the ship in radiation, overwhelming their shields. Alarms blared as systems began to fail. "Primary life support is offline," Kevin shouted over the chaos of the bridge. "Switching to backup now." Lisa remained calm, directing the crew to emergency stations. "Peter, what's our radiation exposure?" Peter checked the readings, his face pale. "Higher than safe levels, but the ship's hull absorbed most of it. We need to check the exterior arrays." Kevin and his assistant Olivia Young suited up for an emergency spacewalk. Outside, the damage was worse than expected. The communication array hung partially detached, and several solar panels had been fried. "We can fix this," Kevin said through the comm, "but it'll take time." For 3 days, the crew worked around the clock. The ship drifted, its drive systems powered down for repairs. Alan found himself helping Kevin, his theoretical knowledge of physics finally put to practical use as they rewired damaged systems. During a break, floating in the observation dome, Alan watched the distant stars. "We could turn back," he said when Lisa joined him. "No one would blame us." Lisa was quiet for a moment. "The signals haven't stopped, Alan. Whatever's out there, they're still calling to us." By the 4th day, the ship was operational again. They had lost some power capacity and would arrive at Taw City 2 weeks behind schedule, but they were moving forward. "I've done it." Diane's excited voice came over the ship's comm one evening. "I've reconstructed one of their images." The crew gathered around the main screen as Diane displayed her work. A grainy picture formed, showing what appeared to be a world with 3 small moons. Then another image appeared, strange structures on a planetary surface. "They're home," Alan whispered. "And look at this," Diane said, bringing up a third reconstruction. This one showed what could only be the aliens themselves. Tall, multi-limbed creatures gathered around what might be a transmission device. A hushed silence fell over the crew. Until now, the mission had been about signals and data. Suddenly, it became real. They were heading toward actual beings who were reaching out across the stars. Kevin broke the silence. "Let's fix this ship properly. We've got a meeting to keep." The horizon decelerated as it entered the Taw Ceti system, its sensors gathering data on the 7 planets orbiting the yellow star. The crew had barely slept for days, too excited by what lay ahead. 4th planet shows atmospheric composition similar to Earth, Peter announced, eyes fixed on his readings. "Nitrogen, oxygen, trace gases. It could be habitable for us." Lisa stood behind him, watching the planet grow larger on the main screen. It shimmered blue-green, with swirling cloud patterns and land masses of deep red. "Any signs of technology?" she asked. Ellen adjusted the ship's long-range scanners. Definite energy signatures on the day side. And something in orbit. Artificial satellites. The signals had grown stronger as they approached, changing from mathematical sequences to more complex transmissions. Diane had been working nonstop trying to understand them. "They know we're here," she said, entering the bridge with dark circles under her eyes. "The latest transmission contains directional data. They're guiding us to an orbital position." Lisa hesitated. Following alien directions could be risky, but they had come too far to turn cautious now. "Kevin, take us to the coordinates," she ordered. "Jack, keep defense systems on standby. Everyone else, prepare for visual contact." The horizon moved into position above the night side of the planet. Below them, clusters of lights outlined cities across the red continents. Maria joined the bridge crew, her expertise in cultural first contact suddenly the most valuable skill aboard. "Remember," she cautioned, "whatever we see, whatever they look like, control your expressions. Body language might communicate more than we realize." A new signal arrived, stronger than before. Diane quickly translated the now familiar patterns. "They're initiating visual communication," she said, fingers flying across her console. "Connecting now." The main screen flickered and then filled with an image that made several crew members gasp despite Maria's warning. The aliens were nothing like the theoretical models they had studied. 6 limbs extended from an elongated central body covered in what looked like iridescent exoskeleton. 4 of these limbs appeared to function as arms, ending in delicate appendages with multiple joints. Their heads were dominated by compound eyes that shimmered with an intelligence that was unmistakable despite being utterly alien. "Vartek," the creature on screen said. The sound translated through Diane's system. "We are Vartek. You come from Earth." Lisa stepped forward. "Yes, I am Captain Lisa Martins of the spacecraft Horizon. We received your signals." The alien's upper limbs moved in what might have been excitement. "Many cycles we wait, many signals sent. Humans have arrived as predicted." The word predicted sent a chill through the bridge crew. "You knew we would come?" Lisa asked carefully. "Probability high. Humans curious species. Signal designed to attract attention." The alien's mandibles clicked. "Permission to approach planet granted. Landing coordinates provided." After the transmission ended, the bridge erupted in debate. "They've been expecting us," Jack said. "That means they've been watching Earth. For how long?" Maria studied the recorded images of the Vartek. "Their body language is hard to read, but I didn't sense hostility. Excitement, perhaps. Curiosity, like our own." "The real question," Alan said, "is why did they call us here specifically? Out of all the potential civilizations in the galaxy, why reach out to humans?" Lisa made her decision. "We're going down. Small team only. Myself, Alan, Maria, Jack for security, and Diane for communications. Kevin keeps the ship ready for quick extraction if needed." As the landing shuttle prepared to drop from the horizon, the planet's 3 small moons rose over the horizon, casting multiple shadows across the alien landscape below. The red surface grew closer, features resolving into strange forests of spiral growth and vast structures that seemed to merge with the natural terrain. "No matter what happens next," Lisa said as they began atmospheric entry, "remember why we came. This is humanity's greatest moment. Let's make it a good first impression." The landing shuttle touched down on a flat platform constructed of a material that looked like polished amber. In the distance, spiral structures reached toward the sky, connected by arching bridges that glowed with soft blue light. "Atmosphere is breathable," Alan confirmed, checking the shuttle's external sensors. "Temperature is warmer than Earth standard, but within comfortable limits." Lisa looked at her small team. "Helmets optional, but keep them within reach. Weapons concealed but accessible." Jack nodded, adjusting his uniform to better hide his sidearm. "I don't like this. It feels too perfect." The shuttle door opened with a soft hiss. The air that entered carried scents of something like cinnamon and ozone. A delegation of 6 Vartek waited at the end of the platform, their exoskeletons gleaming in the amber light of Ta City. Maria led the way, having studied the alien recordings for any cultural cues. She stopped several feet from the aliens and made a gesture with both hands open and raised. The lead Vartech mimicked the gesture with its upper limbs. "Welcome to Varys. Long have we awaited direct contact." Diane's translation device worked remarkably well, converting the clicking and humming sounds into English. The aliens had clearly learned much about human language from Earth's broadcasts. "We are honored by your invitation," Lisa replied. "We come in friendship and curiosity." The Vartech led them into an open structure with a domed ceiling that displayed what looked like a star map. Once seated around a circular table, the real discussion began. "Why did you call us here?" Ellen asked directly. "Your signals were specifically designed for humans to notice." The lead Vartech, who had introduced itself as Elder HFY, dimmed its compound eyes in what Maria had interpreted as a sign of seriousness. "Necessity," it replied. "Threat approaches. The Drex consume worlds." A holographic display appeared above the table, showing a star system being systematically stripped of resources. Ships of aggressive design harvested asteroids, moons, and eventually whole planets. "The Drex are a species evolved for conquest," HFY explained. 3 neighboring systems have fallen. Ours will be next. Jack leaned forward. "And what do you expect humans to do about this? We're new to interstellar travel. You must have technology far beyond ours." The Vartech's mandibles clicked rapidly in what might have been frustration. "Technology is not the issue. The Vartech create, build, improve, but we cannot imagine differently, cannot think beyond patterns." "You're too logical," Diane realized. "You can't think outside established parameters." "Yes," HFY agreed. "Humans are unpredictable. Create new solutions. Adapt quickly. We observe your history. You survived despite overwhelming odds." Lisa's expression hardened. "You've been studying us. For how long?" Before the alien could answer, an alarm sounded. The star map above them changed, showing a new vessel entering the system. "Drex Scout," HFY said, all 4 arms moving in agitation. "Earlier than predicted." Jack pulled Lisa aside. "Captain, this feels like a setup. They brought us here to fight their war." Meanwhile, Alan examined the tactical display with growing concern. "The Drex ship is heading directly toward us, not the main Vartech cities." "They detect your vessel," HFY confirmed. "New technology interests them. They will take it." Lisa's hand moved to her communicator. "Kevin, we have a situation. Prepare the horizon for possible hostile action." Maria studied the Vartech carefully. "You're not telling us everything. What else should we know about these Drex?" HFY hesitated, its compound eyes shifting colors slightly. "The Drex were once like us. Before the change." Before they could ask more questions, the building shook. Through the transparent dome, they watched as energy beams lanced down from orbit, striking targets around the landing zone. "They target our defenses first," HFY explained. "Then communications, then resistance." Lisa faced the alien leader directly. "You've placed my ship and crew in danger without full disclosure. If we're going to help you, we need the complete truth. Now." The building shook again as more weapons fire hit nearby. The confrontation had begun, and humanity was caught in the middle of an alien conflict they barely understood. Lisa's team huddled in the Vartech command center as the building trembled under another attack. Through the dome ceiling, they watched the Drex ship positioning itself between the planet and the orbiting horizon. "Kevin, status report," Lisa called into her communicator. "We're holding position," Kevin's voice crackled back. "The Drex vessel is scanning us, but hasn't fired. Our shields are up. Should we attempt to break orbit?" "Negative. Stand by," Lisa replied before turning to HFY. "You said the Drex were once like you. Explain." The alien's exoskeleton seemed to darken with what Maria interpreted as shame or regret. "The Drex were our sister species," HFY admitted. "From our neighboring world. We shared technology, culture, growth. Then came the plague." Alan stepped forward, intrigued despite the danger. What kind of plague? Neural corruption. It damaged higher reasoning but preserved technical knowledge. They became simplified, aggressive, resource-focused. Dr. Susan Parker, the team's medical specialist who had been quietly observing, suddenly spoke up. "Show me your medical data on this plague." Shafak hesitated before gesturing to a Vartech assistant. A holographic display appeared showing cellular structures and brain patterns. Susan studied them intently, her eyes widening. "This isn't just a disease," she said after several minutes. "This looks like deliberate genetic modification that went wrong. These markers here," she pointed to specific patterns, "they're too precise to be natural." The Vartech's compound eyes flashed with color patterns. "You see much with little information." Yes. The Drex attempted to enhance their cognitive abilities. The result was regression. "And now they're coming for you," Jack said. "But why call us? What can humans possibly offer that your advanced technology can't?" Shidfak's 4 upper limbs performed a complex gesture that seemed almost pleading. "We have watched your species for 73 of your years, your television signals, your internet, your conflicts and resolutions. Humans possess what we lack: creative adaptation under pressure, unpredictability. The Drex cannot calculate what they cannot predict." "You've been studying us for decades," Lisa asked, anger edging her voice. "Preparing to use us as weapons against your enemies." "To use us as shields," Alan corrected, the pieces falling into place. "The Drex ship is more interested in the horizon than in the Vartech defenses. They've never seen human technology before." Another impact shook the building. Outside, red emergency lights flashed across the alien city. "We have 16 hours, Shafak said. "The main Drex fleet approaches. This scout tests our defenses." Susan was still studying the medical data. "I might have found something," she said quietly to Lisa. "The neural patterns in the Drex brain show a vulnerability. Their simplified thinking created a dependency on certain neurotransmitter pathways. If we could disrupt those, we could disable them without destruction." Lisa finished. Jack shook his head. "Captain, this isn't our fight. These aliens deliberately lured us into a war zone without full disclosure. Our mission was contact, not combat." "I understand your concern," Lisa replied. "But we represent Earth now. How we respond sets the precedent for all future human interactions." Alan joined them, lowering his voice. "There's something else to consider. If the Drex defeat the Vartech, Earth could be next. They now know we exist." The debate was interrupted by an incoming transmission. The holographic display showed a new alien face, similar to the Vartech, but with a cracked exoskeleton and glowing red compound eyes. "New species detected." The Drex commander spoke in harsh, clipped tones. "Surrender your vessel and technology. Resistance increases suffering." Lisa stepped forward, facing the projection squarely. "We are representatives of Earth. We do not surrender to threats." "Then you will be harvested with the Vartech," the Drex replied before cutting the transmission. In the silence that followed, Lisa turned to her team. "We have 16 hours to make a decision that could affect the future of our entire species. I need options. Creative, unpredictable, human options. The Drex rely on pattern recognition," Alan explained, gesturing at the holographic display. The human team and Vartech leaders had gathered in an underground command center. Their ships attack in predictable sequences based on what's worked before. Susan nodded, adding, "And their neural pathways have similar patterns. They can't process unexpected stimuli well." Lisa paced the room, considering their limited options. "So we need to be unpredictable. Kevin, what's the status of the Horizon?" "Still in orbit, Captain," Kevin replied through the comm. "The Drex scout is keeping distance but watching us. I've been analyzing their scanning frequencies. Can you disrupt them?" Lisa asked. "Better than that," Kevin said, excitement in his voice. "I think I can feed them false data." A plan began to form. For the next 8 hours, the humans worked alongside the Vartech, combining Earth ingenuity with alien technology. The Vartech were brilliant engineers but needed the humans' creative problem-solving to break out of their structured thinking. "It's ready," Kevin announced. He had shuttled down to the surface, bringing critical components from the horizon. "We've modified the Vartech communication array to broadcast on frequencies that will interfere with Drek's neural patterns." Lisa looked at the cobbled-together device. It wasn't elegant, but it represented the best of both species working together. "Will it harm them permanently?" she asked Susan. "No," the doctor replied. "It should just disorient them temporarily. Think of it as a massive sensory overload." HFY approached, its compound eyes shifting through colors that Maria had learned indicated admiration. "In cycles of planning, we could not devise this approach," the alien leader said. "Humans truly think differently." Jack, who had remained skeptical, checked his weapon. "The signal won't reach the entire Drex fleet. We still need a direct delivery method." "I've been working on that," Alan said, revealing a small fleet of modified Vartech drones. "These can approach the Drex ships, appearing as debris. Once in range, they'll amplify and broadcast the disruption signal." As they finalized preparations, the long-range sensors detected the approaching Drex fleet, 12 ships of varying sizes, all heavily armed. "They're hailing us," Diane reported from the communication station. The main view screen activated, showing the Drex commander. Its broken exoskeleton seemed more pronounced, with glowing fluid visible through the cracks. "Final opportunity for surrender," it stated flatly. "Your technology will advance our purpose." Lisa stepped forward. "We wish to negotiate terms. Allow a delegation to board your command ship." The Drex paused, clearly not expecting this response. "Approach unarmed. Any deception will result in immediate destruction." When the transmission ended, Jack turned to Lisa in shock. "Captain, you can't be serious." "The drones won't get close enough without help," she replied. "We need to distract them from inside." HFY's limbs moved in agitation. "This exceeds calculated risk parameters. Voluntary boarding of Drex vessels has 97% mortality outcome." Lisa smiled grimly. "That's why they won't expect it. Humans specialize in beating the odds." The plan proceeded rapidly. Lisa, Jack, and 2 Vartech engineers boarded a shuttle, apparently unarmed. Behind them, Kevin directed the drone fleet, disguised as debris from earlier battles. Meanwhile, Alan and Susan prepared to activate the disruption signal once the team was aboard the Drex command ship. The shuttle approached the massive Drex vessel, which loomed like a jagged black crystal against the stars. Drex guards met them in the docking bay, their movements jerky and precise. "Your weapons," Lisa said to Jack as they were escorted deeper into the ship. "Now." Jack activated the devices hidden in their equipment. Not weapons, but miniature versions of the disruption transmitter. The effect was immediate. The nearest Drex guards stumbled, their compound eyes flashing erratically. Outside, Kevin gave the command. "Drones in position. Activating now." Across the Drex fleet, the disruption signal spread from ship to ship. On the command vessel, Lisa and her team raced to the bridge, finding the Drex commander struggling to maintain control as its neural patterns were bombarded with irregular stimuli. "Impossible," it chittered as Lisa approached. "Humans. Unpredictable." "That's our specialty," Lisa replied. "Stand down your fleet, or we'll increase the signal strength." For the first time in generations, the Drex fleet retreated without taking what they wanted. As Lisa's shuttle returned to the planet's surface, she watched the Drex ships disappear into the darkness of space. A new alliance had been forged in crisis. The calculated precision of the Vartech, combined with human adaptability, had created something neither species could have achieved alone. 3 weeks after the Drex retreat, the Horizon prepared for its journey back to Earth. The ship had been upgraded with Vartech technology, its hull now reinforced with the amber-like material that characterized alien architecture. The improvements would cut their return time in half. "Are you sure you won't come with us?" Lisa asked, standing with HFY on the landing platform. Earth would welcome a Vartech ambassador. The alien's compound eyes shifted through shades of blue and green. "Two representatives will journey with you. The Council selected our finest scientists. I must remain to prepare our defenses. The Drex will return." Alen approached, carrying a data crystal containing astronomical charts the Vartech had shared. "These map safe routes across 50 light-years. There are other civilizations out there, some friendly, some not. We are no longer alone in the darkness," HFY observed. "Humans have changed our path." The farewell ceremony was brief but meaningful. The Vartech had initially seen humans as tools against the Drex, but now regarded them with genuine respect. What had begun as manipulation had evolved into partnership. Aboard the Horizon, the crew made final preparations for departure. 2 Vartech representatives, Neartech and Klaven, had been given quarters adapted to their physiology. They moved through the ship with careful grace, their 6 limbs allowing them to navigate the human vessel in ways that seemed almost elegant. "Have you ever seen anything so strange?" Olivia asked Kevin as they watched Neartech examining the engine room with multiple appendages working simultaneously. "Strange to them is having only 2 arms, Kevin replied with a smile. "But they taught me more about energy efficiency in 3 weeks than I learned in 10 years at the academy." In the communications center, Diane worked with Klaven, developing a universal translation protocol that would help Earth communicate with other species they might encounter. "Your language has so many inconsistencies," Klaven noted, mandibles clicking in what Diane now recognized as amusement. "Yet this gives it flexibility our precise speech lacks." As the Horizon broke orbit, Lisa stood on the bridge watching Tau Ceti and its planets recede on the view screen. The mission had achieved far more than anyone could have anticipated. They were returning with proof of intelligent life, advanced technology, and warnings about galactic threats. "Captain," Alan said, joining her at the viewport, "I've been thinking about what happens when we get home." "Everything changes," Lisa replied simply. "The Vartech chose us for our unpredictability, our creativity under pressure," Alan continued. "Those are qualities that other species out here seem to lack. And that makes us valuable." Lisa nodded. "But also targets." The journey home gave them time to prepare Earth for its new reality. The crew drafted reports, recorded video messages, and organized the scientific data they'd collected. The Vartech visitors helped them understand the complex politics of nearby star systems. 1 month into their return journey, Dr. Alan Wright sat in the observation dome, remembering the night he first detected the signal from Tau Ceti. He had been alone then, an outsider with a theory no one believed. Now he was part of something far larger. "What are you thinking about?" Lisa asked, joining him. "How one discovery changed everything," he replied. "For decades we wondered if we were alone. Now we know the galaxy is full of life, and somehow humans have something special to offer." Lisa gazed out at the stars passing by. "The Vartech could have defeated the Drex with our help or without it, but they recognized something in us that they needed, not just for this battle, but for the future. Our chaos." Alan smiled. "Our beautiful human unpredictability." As the Horizon carried its crew and its alien guests toward Earth, they prepared humanity for its first steps into a community of stars. They would not arrive as the most advanced species, nor the most powerful. But they would bring something unique, the human capacity to imagine beyond patterns, to create solutions where none seemed possible, and to form connections across the boundaries of biology and culture. The signal that Alan Wright had discovered had not just been a greeting. It had been an invitation to join something greater than humanity had ever dreamed possible.